Greetings, I am Lance.
And I am Scandal.
And let's play a game together.
Alright.
So we are here in the field of We Don't Know, with Julian having a realization that every person in the world that he cares about is right here, and he's suddenly worried for all of them, and not just Nerd anymore.
Oh no.
Alright,
Not
well...
just Nerd. Aye, any or all of us could be hurt. Maybe worse.
Aye. Oh no. I've heard this kind of talk from him before, though not for a while. And always directly in relation to me. Oh.
So maybe he is changing. It's not just us this
Except
time.
for we were always alone all the time, so it's hard to tell.
It's true.
Now that we're not alone, I don't know if things are different, or if he's just different when he's in public. We've talked about this before. A relationship is formed in isolation, with only two parties present. And then suddenly, when you get out in public, it starts feeling as if everything's different. It is probably because you and they both react differently when there are many people around than when there are not.
Shockingly.
And surprisingly, that is often the case.
Yes.
Alright, no, not for a while. Portia looks like she's gearing up for a lecture, but Julian isn't finished yet.
He's like, I have a prepared speech of my own.
My
Shut
God.
up. Squish.
It's always about you.
Tick.
About
Tiny
you.
pestilence. Shush.
I will bite your ankles off. Shh. You didn't need them anyway.
Flee. Aye. But even knowing the danger, you all came anyways. That's, pretty amazing.
That is a sudden shift between...
Sadness. Despair.
All
was working up.
Any of us could be hurt, but you all knew that, didn't you? Wow, he gave everyone credit for knowing the stakes.
No matter what happened, we'll make it to through. Make it to through. Make it through. Through. Together.
That's good. Oh, will we not? What if we lose someone? What then?
That will never happen. I will let it happen. My legs are too long.
Okay, perfect.
I am the spider.
Sounds good. We'll just this is what we're going to do. Julian's got really long legs. We're all going to climb on piggyback style as chibis. And then he's just going to step over all the problems until we're done.
Yeah, pretty much. We'll be fine.
Perfect. We got
It'll
this.
be great. This is what you do with tall people. Stand on your friends.
You just ride your friends.
I'm glad Nerd and I aren't in this mess alone, and
I suddenly get that vision of the Nerd of like the girlfriend bag or whatever.
Right.
Julian just with the friend pouch. Everybody stuffed in there.
Right.
All right.
You're all staring at me.
Because it's easier to write a crowd scene if everyone's silent. That's why.
Yes. I cannot tell you how many times, even where somebody's having a really important conversation, sometimes you really do have two other people just having another conversation anyway. And they usually don't know that you're having an important moment.
Yeah.
And it's really funny, actually. And I know that would completely ruin the tension, and this is clearly a story, and that's how it works out. But it still makes me laugh sometimes, where I just keep going, they should be really having conversations around.
Amongst each other?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say there should not be any one particular focus for everyone at all times, and because it feels a little unnatural. One of the ways that I've seen it handled that has been really clever, or for me worked well, is when they say, this character and that character talk quietly in the distance, or to the side kind of thing, or near the fire, whatever object you have, and then whatever you're having, in amongst your main character and your experience, that the other characters aren't just standing there staring at you, Doki Doki Literature Club style.
Right. There's also that thing, too, that people have actually pointed out, that there is definitely a different writing style depending on what people want to do in terms of their narrative or their theme, in regards to even just like writing movies. There really is people who are writers where they go specifically, you're really good at basically writing naturalistic sounding dialogue, and these people are more at like theatrical sounding dialogue
or structured
dialogue. Like there's different types, and it is a skill. It is a thing to learn. It's also like what your interests are and what you're trying to accomplish.
A lot of it is also based on what you want out of your story, and for me it's what the writers have taught me to expect, and also then how well that works for me. If they've taught me to expect no additional details, then I go great, and then if they start throwing them in, I go, oh, I should look for those, and then when they drop them again, I go, now I'm confused.
Which is why I will say again, playing this game with two people, as playing any of these games that we've ever played on the entire channel with two people, just wildly, ridiculously, radically changes the content. Because you're not just basically isolated in an experience, having your own quiet experience in your own head, just reacting or absorbing whatever's presented in front of you. Some people are really active, basically, listeners, and they do a lot of critique and commentary on their own, but that is usually a behavior that you have to engage in, rather than most people going, yeah, I just sat down and I watched a thing and I just, read a book or whatever.
Yep, difference of approach. All right. You've changed, Ilya.
I have?
Your clothes, I mean. Oh.
You've never seen this outfit, have you? Isn't it great? It's got the little feathers and shit. Here, I can tickle your face with it.
They're not even real feathers.
Why? They're perfectly real. You're saying ostriches aren't real?
I'm saying we're in the astral plane. Nothing's real.
How do you know that?
Astrid told me on the way in.
Asher and all his magical nerd powers.
Yes, it's okay. Definitely. I was right about you in that. What do you mean? What?
That is a romance question, often.
Oh my god, that is so unexpected.
I was right. I think nerd would be too awkward. I hate to say it, like, immediately. I already know nerd would be like,
no, that was immediately what I thought.
Yeah.
Was, nerd would just be like, and then would ask afterwards if the option presented. What do you mean? But if it's one of those the moment passes kind of thing.
Yep.
So yeah, specifically for nerd, this would be
what?
I don't...
This is confusion. And
yes.
Unfortunately, I also feel like the way that this is written, it's not intended to be confusion. It's meant to be, don't talk about that, I'm too embarrassed.
It sounds, I was going to say, I imagine the way they're framing it is more in a sense of, oh, well, kind of, but for nerd, for the purposes of this, it really would just be like, what? Huh? I was focusing on something else. Because we're in the midst of something pretty intensive right here, and we really just got through what would be a life-threatening experience.
Also,
what?
Part of that could just be like, my
mind wasn't there
not
at
even
all.
paying attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
what? I feel tongue-tied, embarrassed by the warmth in Mazalinka's expression.
Okay, so that can really throw you off anyway, because I think nerd is also just like I think there's some sort of like delayed also processing thing at this point now.
A level of going, you just said that.
We just said we loved each other. What are we?
Or also, again, we just got through this terrifying forest of living vines. We lost our guide. We almost got swallowed up in, basically the hangman's realm, if you will. Found our guide again.
We found a giant deep-sea fish.
We did. We
found
an
anglerfish. Was beautiful.
The anglerfish was lovely. I was going to say, and then ended up here. And so it would be and now I'm sort of just listening to Julian. The Mazalinkas, you've really changed. What's that? See, I was right about you two. Wait, how does that follow?
Right.
Yeah, no, that works for me. Embarrassed by the warmth in Mazalinka's expression. Thankfully, Julian leaps to my rescue.
You're always right, Mazalinka. Isn't that why you kept telling us while we were kids?
It's very important to tell people that you're always right, because they're not going to know it on their own.
Yeah, right.
I guess.
That and Ilya, have you been getting into trouble again?
And you're nothing but arms and legs. All you have is reach on your side and nothing else.
You twit. I don't know why you keep asking. The answer was always yes.
Have you been getting into trouble? Yes.
Oh,
yes.
honey.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Him running in, tiny, except for they never lived together, just showing up. Her coming back every couple of years. Have you been getting into trouble? Him. Yes.
Perfectly. Yes, ma'am.
So much trouble.
I love trouble. Ilya, trouble is his middle name. Mazalinka, good job. You got it.
He says, my big brother's name is Trouble.
This is what he does. And he's starting to drive me crazy. I have discovered this as I have become older.
Yes, it is terrible.
I have discovered I can step on his toes.
I have found his toes and I am going to beat him.
Stop!
Hush, you whippersnappers. She waves the spoon threateningly at him, and Julian ducks with a laugh. He ducks from the spoon. How high did she wave that thing?
No. You need to understand. It's like blood of Zeus, right?
Oh, God!
Okay, you guys. So recently, I binged the fucking Blood of Zeus cartoon series. It's not.
It's a cartoon.
It's a cartoon on Netflix, and I laughed my butt off. And there was one particular scene that made me laugh really super hard. We got Zeus walking over to his son.
So the gods are way taller than mortals.
Yes.
And so Zeus is walking over, and he's like, half again as tall as this person who's about to talk to is.
2 times the height of, basically.
Not quite double.
I mean, that's double, basically. I mean, it's pretty close. Like, it might...
2 times, half again. Like, take another half of him and stick it on
that's
top.
times 2.
Okay, well, then I don't know what half again means.
That's what 2 times...
I thought it meant half of their height and on top of...
Because 1 times is the same height. 2 times is this height and this height. So that's... You are 2 times taller.
Again. Not 2 times.
Well, I don't know, because I only know that it's 2 times, so...
It's okay.
Whatever.
Anyway,
so
he walks over to him, and immediately... he walks over to him, and...
You get to tell it now.
Oh, God, I ruined it because I can't describe how tall people are. And he walks up to this, like, there's this intense, like, training regime and stuff, and he's trying to get his son to beat this automaton, right? And it's failing over and over again. Finally, he just walks up to him, all seriousness, life and death on the line, and he just leans way down, like, next to his shoulder.
In half.
Next to his shoulder, arm on his, hand on his shoulder, and goes, son.
It was really funny. So basically what I'm saying is that Julian did that Mazzalinka swiped up because she's really short. And then that's him needing to duck further. I don't know.
And
it doesn't make sense.
He proceeded to duck under it even further. Just laid his face in the grass to duck under the spoon.
I am bendy.
Woo! Either that, or she takes a swing at her height, and he ducks to save his groin. Yeah.
Ouch! Whoa!
Bork! Scout starts to get up, then collapses back down to a seated position again, huffing tiredly. They must be too exhausted to continue. Instead, they point at the top of the hill and bark once.
Arruff!
Arruff.
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 I love the little idea of like the sort of mustachy, whiskery experience of arruff. Yes, that one.
Yes.
Right. Thank you, Scout. With a nod, Scout lies back to rest. The rest of us continue on without them. We trudge through the field and up the hill. At the top, I look down into a valley, and my breath catches.
It's into a valley. On which side?
Well, it's not the valley, and we didn't look back to where we came from, so I guess there's a valley in front of us. I look down towards the valley. I look down and see a valley? I guess. You see a valley and look into it. Done.
Cool. All right.
That is not a valley. Nice.
No.
How does this... Around us, the wheat is alive, lush with life, but down the hill, a wide circle is scorched and barren. How does this picture attach to that at all?
I don't know.
I look down into a valley. This is what a wide, scorched, barren circle looks like.
You mean the wheat being alive?
And scorched over here. Down there, it's fine.
Because this must be the circle that's down below.
This is a building, and inside of a building with a gate.
Uh-huh.
Nothing lives in it, not even a weed. I feel like this picture's put in the wrong place.
I kind of do too. It's a little confusing.
At the center of the circle is a towering gate. Cruel iron chains crisscross its surface, binding it shut. Okay.
Are they the loose, sexy chains that were
on
Julian?
Or are they like tight chains that were like squeezing and burning our flesh?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would like to know.
I would like to see the chains. That would be cool. But also I'm like, this solidly looks like it's inside of a building or structure. Like, at very least, if the gate's on the front of this structure that's behind it, then you'd be like giant-ass stone gazebo with a gate, not just a gate.
Yeah, not a center of the circle is a towering gate. And that's in the center of the circle where there's nothing that's growing. There's just a gate. This is kind of confusing because I'm going, is there a building? Do we see a building through the gate then in a weird sort of magical kind of way? So if you walked around on the other side, you would just see gate. And if you walked around in the proper front side of it, you would see inside the building that's corded off.
Yeah, maybe.
Sectioned
but
off,
somehow the gate is more obvious than whatever building structure is clearly indicated visually. And standing between us and the gate is this wispy smoke stuff. Oh, no. Lucio. Oh, God. We're going to have to do his voice.
Oh, no!
Shit.
Damn it. I should have known you'd get to Maui.
I mean, he can't be at the party representing the devil if he's here, so that might be a good thing.
I'm fine.
The music is fascinating. Also, I love the implication that Astra is suddenly down the hill in the middle of the circle in front of the gate, because that's what the picture is showing.
Why not?
We see Lucio between us. Astra gets behind Lucio in front of the gate. Ah, yes, of course.
Hi, of course.
Of course.
Hi. I don't have a jersey.
No, it's okay. So we've understood that we wanted to make him whiny and bitchy the whole time anyways. And we've gone back and forth on sort of what his voice would be. But if he's going to be more involved in Nadia's route, we've been kind of back and forth on who should be playing him anyway. And we haven't made a solid decision because he hasn't been around.
If we're doing Nadia's and I'm going to be playing Corazon, that's going to be...
Then it would be very good for me to play him, which is what we had discussed. I was just saying, I don't have my quick jersey pull with me. I was like, it's okay. Let's see.
Just be a shit. Just be as big of a shit as you want.
Just be whiny and bitchy.
Yeah, pretty much.
As you know. Aw, don't be like that, Azra. Aren't you happy to see me?
See me.
See me. I'll work on my jersey for the next one. I'll do it. What are you doing here?
As long as, we're not recording in batches, because that happens.
Oh my god. No, I mean the next one, like the next route.
Oh.
This is going to be what he sounds like for the Julian route, and that'll just be it.
Right, well, because if everybody's written by somebody else for each route, then I guess it doesn't really matter in the end, does it?
I was going to say, and we have a different apprentice, so, everybody can be a little bit differently perceived by the various MCs.
Yeah, different levels of hearing, sure.
All right. What are you doing here? We could be partying right now, but you all decided to ruin my fun. My fun. The most important of all fun. So hey.
Quickly make the jerk-off motion.
Oh god, the most fun. So hey, don't take this personally, but you won't be going any further. Astra already in front of the gate. Excuse me, what? Him. No, I'm more in front of the gate. Them slowly shuffling closer to the gate as they appear in front of you.
Right.
Because I'm still like, what is this image? I don't understand. Lucio lunges at me while I am up on top of the hill and he is down in the valley between us and the gate.
Yeah, I think that was supposed to be implied that we walked our merry way down to the
Okay.
We forgot to walk, you guys. It's okay.
Either that, or he was standing very close to where we were at the top of the hill, but we didn't notice him as we were climbing the hill.
No.
And we didn't
It said
notice him.
explicitly that he was in front of the gate. So we had to walk down to be in front of the gate.
I mean, it said between us and the gate. Between us could be anywhere in that distance. He could have been standing right in front of us at the crest of the hill, and we just looked right over his head and didn't understand he was there.
Excuse me! I'm taller than you! Look at me!
And then I go, wait, excuse me, focus my eyes back. Oh god, that's why the gate looked so weird. There was a pair of pants in front of it.
Julian, you hear that? You've been labelled as a pair of pants. Let's go ahead and yank you off and set you on fire.
Lucio, it's what? What? He shrieks. With your Disney villain voice. Lucio lunges at me, and it feels very much like one of those scenes where someone jumps from way too far away to try and catch something falling that's on the other side of the room, and they fall down on their side of the room uselessly, and the thing smashes.
So do you mean that affects basically, that I feel like I've seen it in Twilight, where basically there'll be like people leap forward, and you just go, momentum doesn't work like that. And you watch them just sort of keep going forward, and you're sort of like, where's the dipping off point? And they just keep going.
They just keep going forward.
Rocketing off, and you're sort of just waiting for the curve of the earth.
Lucio flies at me, closing the distance between us in an instant.
There we go.
Because he understands astral plane usage, it's fine. I scramble backwards, running into the entire party behind me, I think. Was I leading or not?
I don't know where everybody else is. I think everybody else is taking a poop break because they all don't know that the astral plane doesn't work like that.
Also, the only person that responded to Lucio, okay, two people, like Nadia and Julian responded. Everyone else is just like,
I have no opinions.
I mean, I guess Astra said something. But
Yeah, Astra did say something.
I feel like Pasha and Mazalinka would be like, fuck you!
Mazalinka would have more, like, knowledge or awareness. I don't even know what Pasha
has been the right-hand person of Nadia and all of her pain in reference to this bozo.
Yeah, but we don't even know, basically, though, that means that she's axiomatic, because it seems like Pasha doesn't actually know all that much about Lucio at all, but we don't know because we have no ability to talk to these characters.
Can't ask anyone. All right, anyway, I scramble backwards, assumably running into the other three members of the party that didn't speak, just in time to avoid the swipe of his golden claws.
There better be gold. I paid for this.
You get Mazalinka falling over as you trip into her. You get her knocking down Pasha, and then the good doctor behind both of them just leave them fall down the other side of the hill.
Well, and then there's unless you're talking about that good doctor, I don't remember their name.
I can't think of their name right now. So
okay,
that
cool.
one, yes.
We're not talking about that one.
The
redhead?
Yes.
The other redhead?
The non-Julian doctor.
Why are they
all
all
doctors
redheads?
are redheads. It's fine.
Why are they
if
all...
you took off, like, Valdemar's hood, it'd be red hair, of course, because a doctor.
Bright red.
Doctor.
To go with the fact that everybody keeps drawing them with green skin, and I don't understand. Okay, it's not a call-out for anybody at all in particular. It's just a weird thing where, like, for me, I was like, Valdemar doesn't look like they really specifically have green skin.
On our devices, we've never seen a green, like, pallor to Valdemar's skin. But definitely cosplay seems to do green, so we've been a little bit confused. And if maybe it's just the devices we're using.
Maybe?
Who knows?
Yeah,
anyway, just in time to avoid the swipe of his golden claws. Get back here, bitch! Oh, sorry. Oh, no, you don't! Now standing up, dusting herself off, running back up the other side of the hill.
No, my favorite thing is now to immediately envision her grabbing her spoon, whacking his arm, and this ping! reverberates throughout the entire arena. Lucio screams because it's a really loud, obnoxious noise next to his goddamn ear.
Right.
Yet it keeps reverberating up his arm.
And through the entire valley, and then it hits the actual natural resonance of the gate, and starts that vibrating as well, like those, the Tibetan singing bowls, just vroom.
Oh, that would be beautiful. And then the door opens, and then the devil is fucking disappointed with Lucio.
God damn it, Lucio! Mazalika just switches out her wooden spoon for a metal spoon real quick, just ping, and the whole resonance happens. It's done.
It's beautiful.
Oh, no, you don't! I never thought a wooden spoon could parry a clawed gauntlet, but Mazalinka wields it fearlessly. I want it to be a bigger, more robust spoon. I've wanted it to be a fancier, like one of those hand-carved spoons, rather than like a little kitchen spoon, like it looks like.
Yeah,
it looks so much like a sauce spoon.
I know, I feel
rather
like
than like a deeper, stronger spoon.
It also seems to me weirdly like out of place, if that makes sense. Why would she have a little itty bitty thing, especially going like, considering she'd be dealing with big pots, big ladles, big things, like going, here's my tiny spoon.
I've wanted her spoon to be bigger the whole time and more robust, yes. But also, again, more artisan, where it looks very generic, like, going to Bed Bath & Beyond and buying a sauce spoon,
Yeah,
but
it
it's
makes
okay.
me feel like I'm back in my mom's kitchen and suddenly I'm going, huh,
All right.
boomer.
Fearlessly.
Mazalinka, don't hurt him. That's Nerd's body.
Hang on, did he bring my body to the astral plane? Can you bring bodies here? I need to know.
Because as far as... I don't understand this game! You literally said that we had to basically go into a specific state and we end up in the realm, mentally, spiritually, or whatever.
And we've
you
always
don't bring
left...
your bodies. We've always left our bodies. Okay, I give up. Okay, I'm done. It's
Except
fine.
for Astra seems to take his body when he goes, because he goes walking. And then yet when we did it with his direction, we just sat and meditated and left our body there. So he apparently does it differently. Maybe Lucio is so good that he rivals Astra and can just bring his body with him into the astral planes. But he's not actually a magician, because Nadia has said there's hardly any real ones anywhere. All right.
But the anime boy fail. It's fine.
Astra turns to the rest of us, speaking quickly and keeping his voice low. How does she have...
What?
I don't know, but Lucio's...
What's going on?
I think probably she's continuing to fight Lucio actively. They're in a sword fight right now with no swords involved because it's claw versus spoon. And he pulls the rest of us into a huddle and whispers low while they're doing ping, ding, 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 ping, 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 Man in Black and, style.
Oh, and Inigo Montoya.
Yeah, and in Inigo Montoya. They're just having a Princess Bride style sword fight with no swords while Astra huddles with the rest of us and goes, okay, our plan will be...
we got this.
He's laying out the play for us.
Okay, fam. And we need to trap him. Nerd, you remember how to cast a net spell, right?
Couldn't I just, use the chains that are on the door to catch him? Wait, a net spell? No, we've never discussed that the entire game, so I don't think I remember that.
No, we've totally done it. It's fine. We did it off screen. We have know everything we need to. It's off screen.
I do, because I heard you discussing the idea of it once, when you were talking to someone else, so I know how. But can't Lucio just tear his way out of it? Because of his magical automaton arm?
So I really do have to complain about Astra's inclusion in regards to the game series, in regards to what he does and doesn't know. I appreciate that nobody wants to write your character's connection to Astra over and over again, and I understand that there's a route involving Astra. However, if Astra reacts differently, or if your history is somehow the same, you should basically put in the shorthand, because you're assuming, apparently, that everybody already knows what the background is,
so we were talking
you're just
about...
having this element again. So our frustration is going like, we have nothing to do. We're trying to read this like it's a story, not like we're trying to do a self-insert character,
right?
Which is very different. And the thing is that I feel like on its own, it should be able to stand as its own kind of story that you can also put yourself into. Because if you're not in basically the fandom or the idea of, hey, you can play yourself, or even invest in the fact that you are playing yourself. And because some people really do just sort of pap through games just going, like, I didn't really think about putting myself in it. I just wanted to see where the game went.
I just wanted to read all the content.
Right. Yeah. I'm just like, I'm having this frustration going, there's so little, basically, like, character. I can't... go ahead.
So one of the things I was discussing with my friend just recently, when we got a very thoughtful comment from Draconishi about basically Astra and who he is as a character, was that in this route, we know extremely little about Astra. And if there are basically foundational pieces between Astra and your MC's relationship that are necessary for understanding what Astra can do and who he is, and what we as an apprentice can do and who we are, then those things, even though it's repetitive, need to be introduced in every single book, as if you don't know them. In the same way that when you're picking up a sequel in a series, it has a refresher. In the same way, if you pick up one in a wide series of books, it will set the tone. Sort of like if you watch an episode of Tales to like Tell in the Dark or whatever, and you're sitting around the campfire and I submit this story to the Midnight Society, you get the establishing shot every single story. And it's used very frequently in media where they have stuff like, you know, essentially standalone stories, but they're all connected in a contiguous universe, which is what these seem like they're supposed to be.
So one of the other reasons also that I find this to be frustrating is because also you cannot basically carry on conversations with any of the characters. You can't opt to have longer discussions about, hey, what do you do? What are your skills? What does that look like for the overarching narrative? What does that look like in regards to world building? What do you actually know? The only lines that we have is basically like, somehow nerd, if like, okay, so follow me here. So if Nerd, your main character, has the ability to literally become a fully functioning and present and capable, fully speaking, fully cohesive, fully coherent adult in 3 years, because at this point everybody should know your main character was somebody who died and then was brought back to life, and as far as we know they are somebody else entirely, because
it's fine.
I like that's the thing as far as we know. That like, so if you know anything about science, even for people who lose their memories and become basically other people, the adult human brain, according to current modern day science, as far as I understand it, is that you cannot, in 3 years' time, return to the same state as you were before. If you lost all language, if you lost all function, if you whatever else, the human brain cannot, at that age, retain or basically gather the same amount of information in that same amount of time as it would have taken like a 3-year-old to do so.
So my mom, due to her particular illness and variety of seizure disorder, has had a lot of memory and basically cognitive issues throughout her life. And so it's led me to read a lot of like cognitive neuroscience, brain science, memory retention, you know, books. And in a lot of those books, they talk about how the developing brain recovers much more quickly than the mature adult brain when faced with essentially memory struggles or with damage or that kind of thing. So if you have a brand new baby from 1 to 3, at 3 years old, they're a pretty cool person. Like they are, and again, this is from like taking my, you know, child psychology class as well. You've got this, this person who's as a healthy functioning 3-year-old who's had plenty of stimulus. They're pretty competent with language. They do full sentences. They know generally all the words and the functional meanings for what they've been exposed to regularly in their life. They can construct simple constructs and ask questions and think deeply about themselves as an individual. But they don't have big, complex, like deep philosophical discussions. One, they can't care about that, and two, they just don't really have the bigger context for it.
Right.
So they're never going to seem like an adult, even though sometimes they can be very profound, like kids say the darndest things. So, now, if you have an adult brain that is damaged and all of their memories are completely wiped, in this case by death, that adult brain is not going to develop at the same speed
at all
as a new infant brain developing 3 years of age, because it's already formed by and large all of its neural connections, and so it's having to, and it's not growing brand new neural connections at that same rate. Now the brain isn't as stagnant as people have believed in the past at all. It's not like you need to start before you were 5 or you're never going to get there at all. That's an old, outdated belief in science, and they know better now. But the thing is it takes a lot longer for a mature adult brain to get back to where it was than, say, if that 3-year-old lost its memory completely, and then by 6, they would be much more like a natural 6-year-old if they had, you know, a non-inhibited recovery process, because their brain is still growing and developing.
Right. So my whole point about this is I'm frustrated because the only way I, as basically somebody who's consumed media for a period of time, is to go, I can only basically anime or bullshit logic this. That Astra knows way more than he ever lets on, and all these characters are way more competent, skilled, whatever else that we ever let on, because I have nothing basically to the contrary. And most of the stuff also just doesn't follow or make sense. The magic, for example, in here is incredibly vague. We have little to no information as to what our actual skill level is or what our character is even capable of. It's just basically in reference to whatever works for the story, and it gets really frustrating going, okay, so
and
what
are we
getting? Are we playing a game or are we reading a story?
At the beginning of the story, it felt established that Nerd, or the MC, didn't know very much magic.
Yes.
And that they were often going, I'm testing my magic, I'm trying my magic. There are only a couple of spells that I am familiar with at all in any way, and then they just keep adding to that list without explanation throughout the rest of the story, which feels strange, such as, again, this, like, net spell.
Right.
And going, where does that even come from? And so the only, like, assessment that we have as far as deciding who all of these other characters are, and that they all must be incredible, basically anime levels of epic badass, is because if in 3 years Nerd goes from infant, essentially, to fully developed and functioning mature adult, then these guys have got to have lifetimes worth of experience. We're essentially working in, like, better than dog years, if you will, as far as mental maturity and skill acquisition.
Mm-hmm. And that doesn't make it bad. It just makes this stuff sort of frustrating because your tone jumps all over the place. You don't know what the stakes are. The stakes don't really mean anything. You don't really have any real threat of... my investment goes everywhere.
I will. Okay. Just give me a couple of minutes to move into story for a second, okay? I do, but can't Lucio just tear his way out of it?
Not if we work together. We can make it strong enough to hold him.
We'll make a steel net of just metal cords.
We just need a minute to prepare.
1 full minute. Mesalinka, give us a whole entire minute. I'll pull out my hourglass.
I got one. A minute, 2 minutes, whatever you need. We've got you covered.
What are you doing that's got us covered? Stares at Julian.
My height.
You have
shadow.
But you don't...
Come on, it's a visual pun!
You don't have any weapons.
How do you know my height isn't a weapon?
Him runs over to Mazalinka, reaches under a cloak, pulls out one of her backup spoons, starts fighting as well.
Aha!
Ping, 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 ping.
Mazalinka, you break that, I'll kick your ass.
Right. Mazalinka staggers back with a grunt, looking intensely annoyed.
Oh, boy.
And she can look intensely annoyed in the next one, where we figure out if we can do this net thing or not, as we still work to understand these characters from the position of only knowing this single route as far as we do up to this point. Meantime,
thank you very much, guys, though, for joining us.
Yes.
We do appreciate you being here and spending time with us and talking to us. It's super awesome. So if you do like what we do, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and also share our videos if you're having a good time with us. Please also feel free to go check out our Ko-Fi or our Patreon. We've got some links in the description down below. And I have been Scandal.
And we love your ideas and opinions, weighing in on things or giving different information or telling us how you interpreted it differently. It is just fun to see stories from a lot of different angles and what all these different minds can bring to the table. So you're always invited to do that, and we love it. And I have been Liz, and it was great playing with you. Bye!